G-Man Boxing. Do you know what I mean? Every single live he donates. I see him on other lives donating. He's got the bag on it.
So the other day, the WBC had their annual convention. Mauricio Sullivan did his annual virtue signal that makes no sense in a minute and just shows how much of a clown he is. But whilst he was there, he announced a couple of fights. He announced that Wilder versus Ruiz as a final eliminator for the WBC, which is currently held by Tyson Fury. But he also announced that Errol Spence is now mandated to face Keith Thurman. Now, obviously, I'm assuming when he says mandated to fight Keith Thurman next, that's obviously if the Terence Crawford fight can't happen. Another example of that would be he also mandated Beterbiev to face Callum Smith after Anthony Yarde. Obviously, the inference being that the undisputed fight takes precedent, but if for whatever reason you can't get that fight over the line, then you're going to have to face your mandatory. So that's what I'm getting with Errol Spence and this whole WBC situation. Now, obviously I've said it once, I'll say it again. For me, it just, Spence Crawford is to me the fight. It is the fight in boxing. I just cannot stress that enough. I really want to see this fight. I'd love to go to it. I would. That would be something I'd love to do, because I just think it's going to be a tremendous show, tremendous event, tremendous fight. But if for whatever reason it gets, I'm not going to say not going to happen, but let's say it gets pushed back. Let's just say for whatever reason. Crawford's having his fight with Avanesian in December. Spence is going to have his fight then next year, maybe. Who knows? If he goes and fights Thurman next, I don't see it as good a fight as Terence Crawford, no. But for sure, I'm not going to be turning my nose up to it. I'll put it to you like that. Because Errol Spence versus Keith Thurman, 2017, 2018, that was a point where that fight really, I saw that fight as a bit of a pick'em fight. Because Thurman was in his prime, probably from 2015 to 2017. I don't think Thurman's prime lasted very long, because he was quite inactive. Once he beat Bundu, he went pretty inactive, fighting once a year. Had great fights, don't get me wrong. The Sean Porter fight was just tremendous. I mean, Thurman versus Porter, that was just tremendous. But that was kind of Thurman when he was at his peak. Spence, it's hard to say really, because the car crash, everything. But let's just say 2018, 2017, we were seeing a close to peak Spence, if not there. That fight would have caught fire. That fight would have been tremendous, and it really is a pick a fight. Personally, I would have edged it to Spence. I would have. I think the bodywork would have done it. Now, I still like the fight. I still love the fight, but I think it's more, if in 2017, 2018, it was 55-45 Spence, now it's probably 65-35 to Spence, maybe 70-30. However, I still think it's a great fight. I really do. It does kind of show how the WBC, at the end of the day, right, Thurman lost to Manny Pacquiao in 2019. He fought Mario Barros. God, was it the start of this year he fought Mario Barros? He was out of the ring. I think it was the start of this year. He was out of the ring for a good long time. He actually hasn't fought a WBC sanctioned fight since he won the title. So he won that title from Danny Garcia March the 4th, 2017. He didn't defend it for, when was the next time he fought? He didn't fight until 2019 when he fought Josecito Lopez. And by then he was only WBA champion. So he's literally only fought a WBC sanctioned fight once, with the exception of probably the who did he fight? Mario Barros. With the exception of that might have been a WBC eliminator, I don't know. But for all intents and purposes, he's fought 1 in 5 years. And now he's mandatory? Really? Crazy. Thurman, against Spence now, as I said, like, it's not a bad fight. It's still a good fight. I still like it, but it's definitely not what I think it would have been 5 years ago. 4 or 5 years ago. I mean, that would have been... boy, that would have been good. That would have been something else. At the end of the day, my preference is undisputed. I want to see Spence versus Crawford. That's the one I really want. But in-house at the end of the day, it's all in-house. This would be PBC, probably on Fox or Showtime. Thurman PBC, Spence PBC. Thurman has, I mean, I look at Thurman with so much kind of like, because I was a big fan at one time when he was, when he was champion, when he was coming up through, boxing. And I thought that, I look at Keith Thurman and I see a fighter who has so much untapped potential that he wasted between inactivity, between injuries, being overweight. Because Thurman, maybe he still does, but he used to have a tendency to blow up in between fights. Not to anything crazy, Billy Joe Saunders type. But you'd see Thurman out of camp and he'd have the chin and, I'd just be like, God damn it, why can't you just keep yourself in shape and fight? But I guess at the end of the day, he was making so much money. I mean, what was the point? But so that's my thoughts on this. Spence versus Thurman. Let me know your thoughts. If we get it next year, before we get Spence Crawford, do you see it as a kind of okay, look, it's not what we want, but it's not bad. It could be worse. Do you see it as that, or do you, kind of a bit like me, like look at the fight and go, look, it's not a bad fight, but goddamn, I just want to see Spence Crawford. That's the fight I want to see. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I hope you enjoyed the video, people. Smash the like button if you could. If you haven't already, please do. Hit subscribe. Help your boy out. Let's get this channel to 10k. Talk to you people. Peace.